Peter, how you doing?
Hello Danny, how are you?
Not too bad. Thanks ever so much for doing this for me today. It's much appreciated.
No problem.
Before we get started, can you introduce yourself and tell me who you work for? What your position is?
Peter Hart, Director of Optimum Property Management. We're a property management company, been going for just over 20 years. We've got a commercial property portfolio, predominantly multi-let office buildings in London and the South East, and we've been using target lifts now for 15 years.
Great stuff. Right, I'm going to ask you a few questions, Peter.
Yeah.
First one is, how do you find out about target lifts, and who was your first point of contact?
So it's a bit of a funny, convoluted story, but we've got a building in 1 to 2 Grace Church Street, and basically we were being led a merry dance by the current or the previous lift contractor. And what happened is the contractor who was doing a fit out for us recommended target lifts to come and look at a lift we couldn't get going. A young fella called Danny, which is you, turned up and basically promised to get the lift going the next morning by 7 a.m. Our experience of lift contractors at the time was that was not going to happen, but he was true to his word, or you were true to your word, and you turned up the next morning, got the lift going. And we'd had a bad experience of lift contractors. Generally, we'd had about, I think, 10 in 10 years, and we just felt that we might as well give these guys a chance, and we haven't looked back.
And the rest is history.
Exactly.
So that was back when,
2010, 11, I think it was, yeah.
So we're getting on to 14, 15 years.
15 years it is,
fantastic,
yeah.
Great stuff. So Peter, how do target lifts value you as a client? Have we ever been or gone above and beyond?
Yeah, I think you have. I mean, we have a personal relationship in terms of I know I can pick up the phone to you, Danny, which is important to me, and Tony, of course. Yeah. I'll give you a couple of examples of things you've done for us. So I had a building in 265 Strand where I needed someone to urgently look at this building for me. The lifts had broken down. It wasn't under a contract with you. You knew nothing about it. I rang you up, and within 2 or 3 hours you had a lift engineer there getting the lifts going. On a verbal instruction from me. You're not the sort of company that need purchase orders and lots of emails and correspondence. If I'd ask you to do something, you generally will do it and you get it done quickly. That was one example. We also had a building in Bridewell Gate where we were told that we had to spend thousands of pounds to rectify an issue, and you guys came in and flicked a switch, it would appear, and suddenly the lifts worked perfectly. And again, you could have embellished that and said nothing, but I think it demonstrates you're trustworthy and honest and reliable. So yeah, they're the 2 examples I've got.
Great to hear, mate. Really much appreciated. Thank you. So Peter, can you tell me what is the best thing about target lifts?
The best thing about you is I like the fact I can get hold of you guys. It's important for me as a relatively small business. I can pick up the phone to you or Tony or Brendan or James, one of you guys, and you answer the phone. And if I've got a problem, I know that if I speak to one of you guys, it'll get sorted out. And that's important to me because level of service is important. I need to know that if a lift breaks down, someone will be there within a couple of hours. And if you're not, and it doesn't happen very often, then I know I can pick up the phone to one of the directors and you'll get it sorted straight away.
Absolutely. We always do that.
I know.
So based on what you just said, has there been an individual at target lifts then that has really stood out?
Yeah, James Taylor. Generally I can pick up the phone to James, and even if it's something that he's not involved in, to be fair to him, he'll always come back to me with an update. And it might not be something to do with him, it might be a basic lift breakdown, it might be some repair works that I'm waiting for, but he'll always say, leave it with me, I'll come back to you, and he will. And that's important to me because I know that he cares and that he'll respond to me, and I get a response and is what I need. So yes, James is a really good guy.
Great stuff. I think he really appreciate you saying that as well. Good stuff. So I've got to ask this question. Has there ever been a time when target lifts have not quite met your expectation levels? And if so, Peter, did we implement anything? Did we make a change or improve what was already something wasn't quite happening?
I think the only thing I can think about that let's say let me down, that's probably a bit too strong. There have been occasions where when you've used subcontractors, I think you've been let down, and by default you've been let down and I've been let down. And these are things where, for example, we've had some works done at Churchgate in Peterborough where that's not within your geographical remit and you've used a subcontractor, and I think there's been a lack of communication, shall we say, and you've been let down, and we've got another building in London, in Gray's Inn Road, where we're waiting for some quite convoluted and complicated works to be done, which is taking a long time to get through. But again, I think it's because you want to get the right solution rather than just spend money and not do it properly. So yes, really it's to do with subcontractors more than actually you yourselves.
Great stuff. I appreciate your honesty. So is there anything we can do to improve as a business?
Yes, I think as you as a company have got bigger, much as I know you like me phoning you up and moaning at you, Dan, I'm sure that you'd rather have a bit more time on the golf course. But no, in all seriousness, I think one of the things would be a good idea would be to have like a client relationship manager. So I've got, say, 10, 15 buildings, and I know that I can pick up the phone to a James Taylor, which is sort of what I do, but have a dedicated person that I know, whether it's a lift breakdown, a lift repair, some quoted works, improvement works, whatever it is, I want one person who I can liaise with to do all my lifts, and they know me, and they'll then obviously deal with whoever they need to speak to, your company, to resolve it.
Perfect. And it's funny you should say that, and as you were saying that to me, I was smiling because we're always trying to continually improve, and not so far in the distant future, we're going to introduce some client relationship managers.
Oh,
so you'll have a point of contact at all times.
Excellent.
Obviously keep contacting James because he sounds like he's doing everything perfectly.
He's doing all right, yeah. And so that'd be good, yeah.
And
okay.
even if I'm playing golf, feel free to call me.
All right, mate. Nice one.
Peter, look, this is the last question. Simple one. Maybe not simple to answer, but why would you recommend Target Lifts?
The reason is, as I've said at the beginning when we spoke, we've had a lot of lift contractors over a long period of time. So when we first started managing property, we were let down on a continual basis. And it's frustrating because, when you've got a lift that's broken down, you can imagine the inconvenience it causes to everyone. Tenants are shouting at me, yeah. I'm getting in the neck. The one thing I will say about you guys is that you don't let us down. In other words, if the lift breaks down, someone's there within two hours tops. And so I recommend you guys say that you're honest, trustworthy, and I think you're reliable, and I think you're competitive. We have price checked you, believe it or not, but certainly on some of the larger modernisation jobs, yeah. And you are always competitive. So I think on that basis, I'd have no hesitation in recommending you.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, mate. Right. Much appreciated.
No
today.
problem.
15 years. Let's hope for another 15.
I was going to say, yeah.
Thanks ever so much,
Thanks,
Peter.
mate. Cheers, Dan. Cheers, mate.